So, welcome back to this podcast that we have been putting out each week. We're so glad you've joined us. We're hoping that you're having a good day, enjoying the sound of my lulling voice, which is now putting Carl to sleep, as his head is bobbing back and forth. His mouth is open. A teeny bit of drool is coming out of his mouth. Anyways, so. Oh, Jesus.
We'll start the podcast on a downward slope and talk very chill.
Hopefully you're listening to this before you're falling asleep. No?
Such a bad start. Especially when you're like, welcome back. We're back in Montenegro.
Have you taken your Valium? Are you going to sleep? Do you have a glass of wine in your hand?
Are you about ready for an after-dinner nap?
Nice. Sounds great.
Recline back in your lazy chair.
Kick back. Relax. And get ready for some beans talk.
Hi guys, welcome to the Beanstalk Podcast, where we talk about everything travel.
Sharing first-hand travel advice and getting to the bottom of real-life experiences in the hopes to inspire you to get out there yourself.
Okay, well, hello and welcome back to Beans Talk Podcast. This week we will be fishing.
We're fishing for content.
Yes, we will be. Do we have any?
That's
I don't
good.
know. Let's cast out and see. But no, what the fuck? Anyways, so we have 3 or possibly 4 different cities that we're going to be featuring in this episode. Carl's giggling and he can't stop. So the first city we'll be
Let's
visiting.
cast out and see.
The first city that we'll be featuring is the city of
Sweaty Stephen.
Sweaty Stefan.
Yeah.
Or Sweaty Stephen, according to us. But yeah, we took a cab to Sweaty Stefan, and we got dropped off kind of a little bit a ways from the beach in this little cluster of housing. And we start walking up to trying to find our place, and it's kind of hard to find. It's like almost a maze of little houses back there.
Everything is very condensed. Inner city, there's no like backyards or anything. It's like you're literally walking by people's doors. It's almost like a favela sort of feel.
Just as far as like the different tiers.
But not
But
like
it's really nice.
trashy or...
No.
yeah, it's nice, but it's very condensed. And you kind of walk down an alley and then up 3 stairs and then U-turn through
Take
a
a
gate
left, yeah.
and then go down 2 more stairs and round a corner and through a pillar and up 5 stairs. It's very
Maze-like.
maze-like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Lego fortress.
Is that what you're envisioning?
I don't know.
You're
It's
cute.
something like that.
Yeah, but it was very like fortressy and very maze-like and very narrow little walkways and a lot of steps. I remember just hiking up and down all these different steps, and I think that people were kind of popping their head out and going, you know, who the fuck are these people?
Because we're clearly not like someone who lives there. And
No.
It's strange faces for all these people that live there.
Yeah, we kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. What's the past tense of stuck?
We sticked out.
We
like a-
sticked out. We stucked out like a sore thumb. Yeah, it is stuck.
We sticking out like sore thumbs.
Shut up. Yeah, so we stuck out like sore thumbs. And a couple people like...
Especially with huge packs, too.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
clearly we weren't from the area.
So people were like, hey, you know, or whatever language they were speaking. They're like, oh.
Probably
Do you remember what it was?
Montenegrin.
No, but do you remember what hello was?
No.
Zdrava or something like that. Or was that thank you? Dang it, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Anyways, but people were really eager to help us to try to find where we were trying to go, although they did not know how to speak English. So
I think we got like printouts from somewhere for all of our stays in Petrovic.
Yeah, so we showed them what the address was of, where we were going.
And they would basically outstretch their arm and look in the direction of where we're supposed to go. And we're like, that, we'll probably walk like 15 feet and then get lost because it, it's just a labyrinth of this place. It's all cement.
So yeah, after winding down and around these crazy mazes of stairs, we ended up finding the place that we were going to stay. Here we did have to book one night at a different location because the main place we booked only had 4 nights available to us. So
we just found somewhere else for the extra odd night out.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we got there, the guy was really nice and very polite and accommodating, and he spoke a little bit of English. It wasn't the best, but he tried his best. And
I think he even tried to get us to stay there for the 4 nights.
He did.
The other nights, he's like, "Oh, how long are you staying?" You're like, "Oh, just the one night." He's like, "Oh, just one." And we were like, "Yeah, we have 4 nights booked somewhere else around here somewhere." And he was like, "Oh, and you could stay here for your, all 5 if you want." We're like, "Well,
we already booked it,
and we have a down payment.
Yeah,
he was have to be there." But
he was super nice and friendly. But yeah, even so, after getting there, and I think we had gone and eaten somewhere, or just gone to the market and grabbed something to eat, and then kind of just hung in for the rest of the night. But he was even nice enough to like bring us a little tray of like fresh fruit, like watermelon and all that stuff. So he was very friendly.
Really nice guy.
But
not much happened that day though.
No,
it was basically
not
just
much.
getting there and then finding where we had to go, getting some food, and then we just kind of relaxed in.
Totally. He even had like a TV set too, and we were like, yeah, I could definitely just lay down and watch a movie.
Relax.
And
I think,
relax.
Yeah, there was air con, AC in the room, so
that was a big deal because it was hot. It was getting hot.
I don't think the next place had one.
No.
I think it just had a fan.
That's true. So yeah, we get up the next morning and we kind of wander the maze again, which luckily the next accommodation wasn't too far from where we were at.
It was still kind of tricky finding though, because we were still like, where is it exactly?
But it was like a stone throw away, even though.
Yeah, it was close. It was just a matter of finding it and how to get there.
Yeah, so we arrive there and we head up to his
loft apartment?
Yeah, so the owner had this loft apartment, and so we get up to his apartment, and we are just, like, awestruck by the view that he has of the entire, like, sea.
Yeah, his main room / kitchen area was just, like, a wall of windows. And he was one of the highest people up on this, steep hillside that all these condensed labyrinth houses were built on. And you could just see out, and it was just this gorgeous view of just ocean. There was a forest, like pine trees and such off to the left.
But it was just gorgeous. Like, you could see ocean for days. And
yeah.
The one iconic kind of image of Sveti Stefan is this little, almost like an island, but it has like a tiny little strip walkway that connects it to the mainland.
It's almost like it was an island, and then they built a little walkway that is big enough for like one car to go down back and forth to. So
it wasn't even, cars can't go down it. It
was
just,
it?
No, it was just a walkway.
Just a walkway?
Yeah. So, which is really cool because sitting on top of that island is like an old town.
Yeah.
So it looks like very kind of...
It's all gated off.
Yeah. And while we were there, that was even like, it was all taken up by a wedding, so we couldn't even go on there.
But I think we had inquired, because there's basically a gate with some guards there that open it if you're, invited or reserved or paid for to get through.
Yeah.
And we had asked, what's the deal? Can we go over there and check it out?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, there's a wedding, but if there wasn't, you would still have to pay to get through. And it was some outrageous price. We were like, oh, well.
Yeah, screw that.
we would have passed anyway. So.
Yeah, but yeah, he had a great
But it
view.
looked cool.
He had a great view of that
Yeah.
from his room. And so as he's like processing our paperwork and getting our passports and all that stuff out, he offers us beers, and it was like 10.
It's like, do you want drinks? Do you want a beer?
Yeah, it was. Did we mention he was German?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, so it was this German guy, and his English wasn't the best, but it was, better than most people around the area.
We could follow
Yeah.
what was trying to be relayed to each other.
Mm-hmm. But it's just funny because, yeah, it was like 10 a.m.
It was
when we
10
got
in the morning.
there. And he goes, hey, you want a beer? Like, what?
I was like, I'm on vacation. It's hot as fuck. Like, yeah,
Carl's like, all
pour one,
right.
guy.
And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And he just like cracked 2 beers and poured them into glasses. I was like, okay, I guess I'm drinking my breakfast.
I think you even had like half of it, and then you're like, do you want the other half?
I did. I wasn't wanting to get buzzed at 10.
I had nowhere to go. I was fine with it.
Yeah. So anyways, we were at...
Yeah, we paid for the rest and got checked in, and so then he kind of took us down and showed us where our stay was.
Yeah, and it was really nice. It was like more of an apartment style, or they call them apartmanis. You remember that?
Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah, and so...
I don't remember hello.
Yeah, we're going to have to find that one out and get back to you. But, yeah, they had a nice kitchen. The bathroom was nice. It was pretty much clean. I think under the bed just had some dusties, but... most of the place was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And it had a nice balcony, which also kind of shared a little bit of that view that we could see.
Nothing like what that guy had. Because I think he was like, like on the top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And god damn, that view was nice.
It was nice.
He picked his spot well.
Yes, he did. But yeah, so we had a kitchen in order to cook ourselves all our own food because... eating out in this city was really ritzy and kind of pricey, so...
More so than the previous places.
Yeah, definitely. But we did end up finding a place that we went back to a few different times, and they had kind of like a set menu meal, kind of like Peregrino style, like what we were used to on the Camino. And so they would give you like a salad or bread to begin with, and then your main course, and then dessert, and it was all for €10.
Yeah, it's kind of like an all-inclusive set meal with all the bells and whistles for a set
really
price.
Nice, yeah.
It was pretty good too, and it was cool. It was kind of it had vines or like a terrace sort of thing with like grapes that grew over the whole thing, so you were basically outside but shaded completely by all these grapevines.
Yeah, it was
Although
really
I remember
nice.
there being a lot of bees and stuff
There
because
were.
of the grapes, and we were kind of like...
And ants.
Yeah.
And mosquitoes.
But it was pretty cool.
But yeah, it was a really nice place. We went back there several times. So basically, because it was pretty hot at this time, it was, I think, in August, so...
Yeah, still August.
It was pretty warm, so we spent a lot of the time going down to the beaches. And I do recall there was a beach that, because this was a pretty, fancy city, there was a beach where they charged you €75 to use.
Yeah, not many people went on that side.
No, there was hardly anyone over there.
I think because the sand was a bit nicer.
Yeah.
There were actually tables and like lounge chairs with umbrellas. Mm-hmm. Although this was on the opposite side of that walkway that went to that outcroppy island thing. Mm-hmm. And on the other side was the main beach where most people went.
Yeah, which was crowded and nice.
And free.
Yeah, and free. So that was the one that we hung out on.
For obvious reasons.
Oh, there was just a grumble in my chest. I don't know if you heard it, but I heard it. Anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, we had gone swimming a couple times, and we had noticed something that when you're out in the water and you had your feet in the sand, if you're just like standing there, like maybe chest deep or even waist deep, you get this sensation of little fish nibbling at your legs.
We didn't know what it was at first.
We had no idea.
It felt like little rocks were hitting us, and then...
No, I thought it was crabs or something.
Yeah, and you're like, I feel like I got pinched or like something tried to bite me. Mm-hmm. And then At first, like, I kind of wrote it off, like, oh, that was weird. I wonder what that was. But then
It kept happening.
continuously happening, and we were like, no, something's definitely like,
No, something's nipping at us.
yeah, nipping at us.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, well, we're gonna have to find out what the fuck this is, because it's really weird, and it happened every single time you'd go out there. So it wasn't like you just went in this one spot and this one little thing
It
was
was at a
nipping at
certain
you.
depth, too. Like, if you went
It
out far
was.
enough, you were fine, but
Yeah,
it was
true.
in, like, the wake of the water.
Yeah, so it was a little closer inshore.
But we couldn't tell what it was just by looking down because of the waves crashing.
Yeah, you can't see it.
And we were like, what keeps biting us? And
Yeah.
so we ended up buying some goggles on some little, like, cart.
It was like a little tienda nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tienda on wheels.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, cool, goggles. Yeah, let's get some. Let's see what the hell this is.
So we went and checked it out, and they were little fish.
So, yeah, one
These
of
little,
us
like, gray fish.
stood with our feet in the sand while the other one held our breath and went underwater. And, yeah, they were, like, little... Actually, they're, like, white with black and yellow stripes.
Really?
Yeah, but they were very...
Are you sure those aren't the ones from Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember... And they looked a lot like just the rocks and little pebbles that were... They blended in with
They did blend
the
in
sand,
really well.
or,
You could
know.
not see them otherwise. They're freaky.
And sometimes it kind of hurt.
So that town was pretty cool. We just didn't do... Good talk. We didn't do a whole lot. We did wander a ways. We did find this like kind of private beach that was tucked behind a restaurant.
We basically walked behind this forested section and crossed over the hill and found this whole area where people would drive and camp with a beach. And we just kind of followed the waterway or the ocean
Yeah.
and found this outcrop where it was really rocky, but smooth, like round rocks, not sharp rocks. And there was an outcrop of rocks where there was this little restaurant on,
Yeah.
like right at the water's edge.
And that was pretty cool. We
Yeah,
didn't eat at
so-
the restaurant or anything, but there were a lot of people there.
Yeah,
But
I
there
think we
was-
went in there and looked at the menu. We're like, oh, it's kind of pricey.
Yeah, so we just kind
Never
of
mind. So we just left. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but the beach behind it was pretty nice as well. We were like the only ones there, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, it was nice being able to cook a lot of the meals ourselves. It saved us quite a bit of money because the markets were pretty cheap.
And I just prefer to do that anyway versus going out all the time.
Oh, for sure. I remember the market. It's different, being in a different country because you got to find out what kind of food they'll carry, because there's not always going to be what you're looking for. What you're accustomed to back home, you're not always going to get. So you kind of have to work with what they got.
Yeah, it's different. Like as far as eggs, which we did a lot, they would just have like literally a basket full of eggs, and it wasn't in the refrigerator. It was just sitting out,
Yeah.
and you just kind of like grabbed however many eggs you wanted.
There was a lot of stuff that wasn't refrigerated. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was
So it
a
was
really small little market.
It was nice when you could
Everything
find.
was just on the shelf.
Yeah, it was nice when you could put things in the refrigerator if you had one back at your place.
Yeah, usually that would just consist of liquids.
But yeah, so I remember waking up in the early mornings and watching SpongeBob. We kind of started our day with making breakfast for ourselves and watching some SpongeBob. Kind of like Saturday morning cartoons back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. But I do remember being able to write a little bit and just really relax and just kind of enjoy the sun and soak up some rays, go down to the beach and walk back.
Yeah, the beach was nice. Yeah. The water felt good.
Yeah, but there was one day where we were just laying on the beach, Carl.
And I constantly forget about this, and Whit likes to bring it up and jog my memory and torment me.
It's because it's funny.
So we were on the beach, and the section we were at, the sand went at like a downgrade to the water.
As it usually does on beaches.
Yeah, sometimes it's more flat, but
That's true.
this was at a bit of a downgrade.
Yeah.
And there's, as we had mentioned before, kids just are naked, whatever, being kids.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. There's something about Montenegro,
So-
though.
God. Get ready. So we're just sitting there relaxing, and this little kid's playing in the sand, and all of a sudden he's like hunkered over, like on his hands and knees, like digging.
He's like He's like in child's pose, if you know yoga. It's basically like bum out.
Bum out, facing directly at me.
With one brown eye.
And I'm like, oh my god, this kid's butthole is just staring right at me. And all of a sudden, there's like this shit that starts coming out. I'm like, oh my god, this kid's like basically pooing.
Oh my.
But it goes back in, and then it's just.
So loud.
This is what happened. He basically, this poo would start to come out and then it'd go back in, and then it'd start to come out and go back in. I was like, oh my.
I didn't know that it did that. Gross.
And I think I had pointed it out to you eventually. I was like,
yeah,
look.
you like nudge me because I'm just relaxing there. I think I'm reading my book or something, and I'm just laying down on my towel, and you kind of nudge me with your elbow, and you're like, hey, Whit, look over there. And I'm like, why? And I look, and literally, yeah, I see a little kid shitting at me. I'm like, ew, what the fuck? So yeah, there was something about kids peeing and pooping just openly out on beaches in Montenegro.
Oh my god, it's an image that's scarred into my memory.
Yeah, for sure.
And Whit likes to bring it up all the time.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny story to tell.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, that's something you'll never forget. I've never actually seen.
You won't let me forget it.
Well, you're welcome. Oh, fuck.
So basically, that was Sveti Stefan.
That was.
But yeah, for the most part, we just chilled on the beach and made meals, relaxed. Basically, exactly what we were going for.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen this trail. It was more so a cement walkway sort of path. And I was like, I wonder where this goes. So I kind of Google mapped it, and it looked like it went all the way to Budva.
Mm-hmm. Which was our next location.
And it didn't involve going along a busy, dangerous road in Montenegro. So I was like, oh, I wonder if we can skip the cab for the next part and just walk the whole way. So I had spent one whole day walking this path, and I was kind of in the mood for a walk anyway. We'd been having a lot of downtime, so I was like, I want to have one active day at least and just kind of take a stroll around. And so I ended up doing the walk, and it did go all the way to Budva, and it was an awesome walk. It went along other small little beach towns or villages. There was one section where it went through this man-made tunnel. It's basically this rock outcrop, and almost like a round, huge drill bit went through this entire tunnel. And there was a walkway through it with lights. You couldn't drive through it because it was just a walking path, but it was really cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
So, yeah, I ended up walking the whole way to Budva, and it was about 9 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So it took about 2 hours, and then ended up kind of hanging there. I think I had a drink or something, and just basically walked back after that and found out that it was doable to just walk to the next destination.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we ended up putting on the packs, checking out, and walking to Budva.
Yeah, I think it was the next day or two, maybe.
Yeah, we get to that path and just start walking it, and we kind of zigzag in and out of these little fishing villages, which I thought were really cool, and they're small and quaint. They were a little bit on the, I would say, like higher end side as far as if you were to be dining out or getting accommodation there.
Yeah, some clearly you're like, I couldn't afford to stay here.
No, obviously, yeah.
Nor would I want to, but it was cool just walking through.
Yeah, and if you have the money and you want to stay at one of these, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So any little fishing village that you can find in between Sveti Stefan and Budva.
Yeah, but just the walk was super cool.
The walk was gorgeous.
It even would go like right by restaurants, or there was like a local pool at one section.
Yeah.
So yeah, just totally different beaches. It was almost like you walked through like a resort area where people were relaxing, and you're just kind of like, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool though. I liked that walk.
It's like a secret trail. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it took us all the way to Budva, and that walk ended with me spraining my ankle and us getting into a fight. So it didn't end as well as it started.
No.
But
'Cause it was hot. We tried to leave early to kind of beat the heat before it
Yeah.
got super hot. But we sprained her ankle. So then we
sucks
our
'cause
pace definitely took a toll.
And so we're in Budva already, and it's just kind of the home stretch to get us to the homestay that we booked. We get to the homestay finally, and this older woman comes out, and she's like, greets us and gives us water and cookies and stuff, and she didn't speak a word of English. And I kind of hurriedly take my pack off and my shoe and sock off because I'm just
Hurley?
hurriedly.
Hurriedly. Okay. You're like Hurley. I hurled my pack
just
off and threw it.
Making up words here. I hurriedly. So I hurriedly take off my pack and shoe because my ankle's killing me, and sit down. But this older woman greets us and kind of tells us that she's not the one that runs the homestay, it's her daughter. And so she calls her daughter up to get her to come over. And so we're just kind of waiting there for her daughter. And this woman doesn't speak any English, so we can't really communicate with her besides the smiles and head nods. And
so we just sat at this table outside and had our backpacks against this wall and basically just waiting.
Yeah, and so her daughter shows up. And I think it was because I had booked the stay and my name was on it she knew English pretty well, but she just kept using my name like the whole time. She was like, Whitney, yes, good, okay, I'll show you the room. Whitney, up these stairs, and here's our kitchen, Whitney. She just used the shit out of my name, which I was like, oh, that's okay, nice, but I felt a little awkward.
She was like full of pep too,
so full of pep. There was so much pep in her, but she kind of felt like crackish.
Yeah.
Like she could have been on some uppers.
Yeah, she was definitely more energy than most people.
And so I'm like here with this wounded ankle, kind of hobbling around, and she's
basically like running all over the place.
She is. She's like, come, Whitney, here, Whitney. And I'm like, no, I can't.
This is the kitchen. Now let's run to the room. This is the room. Okay, now let's go over here. And you're like, Jesus. Okay. And we were trying to explain that she hurt her ankle and she can't hurry.
No, yeah. And so then she wants to go on this quick jaunt through the entire city. And I'm like,
she was like, well, we have markets here that are close by, and you can shop. There's 2 or 3 markets, and I can take you. Let's go. And we were like, Jesus Christ, you're going to walk us to all these markets all over town real quick?
Yeah. And she's like, and I'll show you where to go to get to the beach, and then
there's a shortcut. You can go through this walkway and blah blah. And we were like,
and then she's like, come on, Whitney. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. I'm like hobbling, and
you're like damaging your ankle worse.
I know. So crazy. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Because this crazy crack lady's just running all over town showing us where the markets are.
I know, yeah.
Like the little shortcuts through the other little apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
Versus just going on the road. She's like, you can go through here and then take a left and a right and the market's there. Okay, the other market's over here.
Whitney, come on, Whitney.
Whitney, hurry up, keep up. Whitney, come on. She hurt her ankle. She just hurt her ankle for like an hour ago.
Yeah. So basically, after all that, I was bedridden for like 2 or 3 days even during this stay.
Yeah.
It was for the majority of us being here. So I had to let my ankle heal up, keep it elevated, keep some ice on it. It was nice that the room had AC.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd have been a sweaty, hurting mess. Yeah.
As the other cities, which are close by, it was hot.
It was, yeah. But Carl was able to kind of wander around the city for those couple days, and I just kind of hung in, and I don't remember a whole lot of this, probably because I was just fucking bored out of my mind, wanting to get out, but couldn't. So, what did you do?
Just like chilling inside and relaxing.
It was nice to relax, but I was definitely getting antsy and wanting to get out, and I was a little bit bored.
Yeah, but we shared a wall with that lady, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. I forgot about that. We shared the wall with her, and we also shared a non-wall kind of balcony area. So it was slightly separated by like a half wall. But you could easily, if I popped out to the balcony, she could see me from her room. And every time I wanted to pop out to the balcony, she would see me from her room, and she would come out and be like, "Do you want a cup of tea? Do you want some cookies?" I was like, sure.
This happened the first time, and we
Multiple
had just
times.
like popped out for some fresh air and to
Yeah.
take in the view.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "How's it going? I can bring over tea and cookies." And we were like, "Okay."
Okay.
So she comes over and has this whole tray made up, like really nice, which is nice. I mean, the gesture is appreciated,
Oh,
but
for
also
sure.
like we wanted our space, kind of like we wanted to relax, and this lady's just a ball of energy that was
Right in your biz.
yeah. So after that, I don't think we really even went out to the balcony because we are like, I don't want that to happen again.
I think I did a couple times, but it was only when I knew that she was gone.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, it's not like we were
Super
ungrateful
nice,
for
but,
it, but yeah, it was just a little bit too much. So, did you want to talk about what you saw in Budva?
Yeah, so basically what I was doing, solo, obviously, because Wit's healing up and relaxing in the room. I just went out and explored the town. Went to the beaches. There was one section where this cement path kind of skirted around the edge of the side of Budva, and it went to another separate beach. It was kind of like a secret little trail, and you go right past this iconic image of, well, not image, but it's a statue of what's called a ballerina.
Mm-hmm. It's a
And
really cool
it's,
statue.
yeah, just a statue on these rocks, almost at like a tide pulley area right at the water's edge. And you can see the old town of Budva in the distance. It's a really cool spot. Yeah, kind of secretive because it's off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
But I also looked or checked out the old town of Budva, which is a walled fortress area.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 2, maybe 3 entrances to get in, but the entire area is walled off from its history of at one point being under siege or attack, and everything's really condensed under there. They have these big gate doors that are open for you to go in and check out the old town, but it is just really condensed and everything's tight in there, and it's easy to get lost because it's just a little labyrinthine maze inside.
I think we've come to find out that Montenegrins kind of like building labyrinths and mazes.
It's kind of cool though.
It
I
is
don't know.
really cool.
You know, it'd be like if a kid was making a fort,
Yeah,
but built a whole like small town.
totally. It's
You know,
awesome.
it's like, oh, what if we put stairs here, and then yeah, we'll put a little gate there, and
then you walk up this way,
then
you
yeah,
head right, and then how about you go left here, and then there's another little store. Yeah.
and because it's so condensed, it's easy to get lost because there's just little alleyways that jut to and fro, and it's so tight that you can't really see anything except what's in front of you because the walls of the shops or whatever go up so high you get turned around easily.
Yeah.
It was cool just checking it out, and there's lots of little shops and markets and pubs and just really cool sightseeing. And
So yeah, I was after, having been in all day and then having to hear about how cool the city is and having you come back and tell me about that, I was like, I want to get out there. And so literally I had to like wait and hunker down, until my ankle was healed. Luckily it was a pretty fast recovery, and especially that,
at least for you to be able to walk.
yeah, I mean, it still
Versus,
didn't
like,
feel
100%.
great. Yeah, it's still not 100%. I've sprained this ankle so many times, it's always kind of messed up.
Kind of perma-jacked.
Yeah, but this particular sprain healed up pretty nicely. And then I was able to get out there and explore, the old town, which I found really cool. I loved that part of it. And
It really made Budva like that much cooler of an experience.
oh, for sure.
If it didn't have the old town, it'd be like, yeah, Budva was alright. But
Yeah, it's just another
the old town was
beachside
awesome.
city. But yeah, the old town really made that place. And I remember we had found like a little cool pub, all kind of dark and like dim lit and really, really neat. And we got a couple pints of Guinness there. which was pretty cool.
But expensive.
But expensive. And a little tip in advance is... In advance? I don't know why I said in advance.
I don't know either.
But a little tip for anybody out there, don't buy the imported stuff, because that's usually what is expensive.
Yeah, it was like twice the price.
Yeah, try to stick locally.
They're, local, like, piss beer, which is light, like a lager.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a Pilsner or something.
Yeah, wasn't the best, but...
Plus, the Guinness wasn't the greatest either.
Yeah, I guess.
We probably had that African Guinness.
Yeah, probably. There was another little cafe that we had stopped at, and they had a bunch of chairs all set up out front. And so we just kind of, sat down at one of these tables and ordered several mixed drinks and just kind of hung out for a while. But it was really funny because there was this dog nearby on this street that kept running after these scooters or bicyclists that went by. It freaked out every single person that was on them. So it was kind of entertaining just sitting there and watching.
It was like getting a kick out of it. Like it'd chase off the scooter, then it'd just stand there looking at it, wagging its tail, and like, haha, yeah, who's next?
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I remember the view from that place was really gorgeous too, of just the surrounding mountainside.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was basically just a wall of mountain.
It was,
came around the entire coast. Because Budva is kind of at this inlet where it's, just surrounded by mountains. It's awesome.
Yeah. It was
very picturesque.
Really pretty city. So, recommend it. But we did go out that night, or one of these nights, and we found an Irish pub. And we were sitting there enjoying watching a football game.
Or soccer.
Or soccer, if you're from the state. The world's football, not American football.
Yeah, right. There you go.
So yeah, we were enjoying watching a couple games, and we got into a little argument about what to do if you're given a bill and one of the drinks is not put on the bill. Because I wanted to be honest and just go, hey, you left off a drink, and I gave it back to the bartender. And Carl was like, why did you do that? We could have had a free drink. And I'm like, well, that's dishonest. I don't know. It's funny because I can see maybe doing that if you're at like a big chain restaurant. Like if you're at a Dave & Buster's or a TGI Fridays, like something that just has a ridiculous amount of money anyways. I've been like, yeah, free drinks, woo! But this was like a little tiny, little Irish pub, local Irish pub in a city that's small. I don't know. I don't know.
See, for me, it was like, it's one drink, and for the amount that just goes down the tube or down the drain from clearing the head or pouring out the head or from spillage or whatever, it was one drink. If they had forgotten our entire tab of and we had drank, 10 beers apiece, I could see being like, oh, well, no, actually we had a lot. But it was like one drink, fuck it, whatever. They're not going to go belly up because they forgot a pint of something.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I get it, and being honest, and good karma, blah, blah, no.
Whatever, yeah, you debated till the cows came home.
No, I get the concept, but I would have just...
It's karma. Karma's gonna come back around and just take that money anyways.
Probably. And I'm sure it did twice fold.
Yeah.
If not more.
So.
But
But yeah, tell us what you think. Would you just let it ride, or would you pay for it and say something?
Where do you stand on that situation?
Where do you stand? Yeah, let us know. You can comment.
Are you a good person, or are you a piece of shit like me?
That is not what this is asking.
No, that's implied.
It's
I
not.
Sure.
It's a legit question.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, actually, I think it was the same night we had kind of walked down this strip that they have of all these. They were almost like pop-up tents of clubs.
Yeah, it was
weird.
almost like a carnival / fair, but pubs. That seemed like temporarily set up versus like a permanent thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call them pubs. They were clubs.
Yeah.
Like they had music blaring
blasting. Yeah,
So
you had
loud
there
you couldn't
was
even
cover
hear
charges.
anything. Yeah,
And
just like
there was like
lights
smoke
and
machines and lights and.
I think I saw an astronaut at one point. I don't know.
I
They just had
swear
like
they
themes.
battled over sound too. Like whichever one was
did.
loudest was.
Oh, there were a couple that were
where
near.
everyone went to.
Yeah, there were a couple that were like next to each other that I just could not hear anything
was
while
crazy.
walking past it. It was ridiculous. But we quickly were like, okay, this kind of isn't our scene. So
But we had to check one out.
We didn't go to one.
Yeah, we did.
Which one?
It was in the one. I don't fucking know. I think it looked like a pirate ship or something.
No.
Yeah, totally. I remember this. It was all wood. I remember going in there. I got a drink and I was like, "This is outrageously outpriced." So, it was more so like, I just want to tick this off the list that I've done this.
It might have been you, because I don't remember going in there.
I went into one.
Okay.
Maybe it was just me.
Because I was like, I'm not fucking going in there.
I was like, I gotta see what all this is about. And I had a drink and I was like, yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had done that.
Yeah.
I probably just hung out to the side.
It might have been one of the days you were in.
Yeah, it could have been.
Hanging in.
Anyways, so yeah, it was one of the days that I was hanging in, because you told me about it, I think, later.
Probably. I don't know why I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I basically went out and explored everything and then told... oh yeah, this place is cool, and we can definitely pass on this.
Yeah,
and,
you gave me the lowdown.
Yeah, the must-dos versus, like, avoid this.
Mm-hmm. But I do remember there being, because it was kind of carnival-ish. We stopped
Very carnival-ish.
Yeah, we stopped at a couple of the little stores just to kind of have a peek inside to see what they were. And, like, automatically as you walk up, even, like, just approaching, there's someone, like, right next to you, like, hey, what you doing? Kind of like trying to make sure you wouldn't jack their shit or wanting to just like sell you something. And I was...
Which every place had basically the same shit.
It did.
There was like 5 different booth stands or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they all had different stuff, but then there was, hundreds, and they all had the same shit.
Yeah, it's all kind of like that standard kind of touristy magnets, snow globes, pencils.
Yeah, t-shirts, hats. It's all overpriced and just cheap and knick-knacky shit.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I do remember about Montenegro, though, was we saw a lot of USA t-shirts there.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, we're like, what the fuck's the appeal with this?
Yeah.
Like,
it might have just been that they traveled there, or maybe
why not
they
like
were...
Italy or something? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. So they were sporting the USA t-shirts.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But we did end up seeing, I think, walking down that same strip. I don't know how anyone heard them with how loud it was, but there was like this all-female accordion band that was playing, which I thought was really cool. And it felt, slightly more authentic than the blaring, booming
clubbing
sound
music.
of the clubs, behind it. But yeah, actually, my pair of flip-flops that I had taken initially on the trip had busted. And it was kind of hard walking around in those, and I didn't want to put on my, sweaty boots. And so I had purchased another pair of flip-flops there, and they ended up lasting my entire trip. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And they were, like, really nice, and I actually still have them, and they still work.
To this day.
They're pretty weathered, but they're still kicking it. So, yeah, I think that was kind of Budva for us.
Yeah.
And after that, we took a bus to Kotor.
Yeah, to the next day, we definitely had to take
A bus?
Why was I going to say motivation? Transportation. That's the one.
We had to take some
We had to get
motivation
motivated.
pills. We had to motivate ourselves to get up off our ass to get to the next place.
Yeah, we had to take transportation to get to the next place. There was no path, unfortunately.
No, we would have had to... Jesus Christ. We would have had to walk along the road. What is wrong with my throat?
That's disgusting.
I know. I have like a fucking permafrog in there.
The bus was kind of, it felt like a local bus sort of thing versus like a cross-country bus. Almost like a bus that just ran
Yeah, it wasn't like
from A, B, C to D. And people would kind of get on and get off as, the stops came and went. Almost, it just would stop along the road. Like certain people would take this daily.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even, a legit bus stop, they would just kind of like
They
stop.
would wave it down, and then the
they'd
bus
pick
would
up
stop.
Tim, who always, is here at 5 o'clock every day or something.
Tim.
I don't know, I'm just making up shit.
So yeah, it wasn't like the one-stop destination kind of thing. So it took a while to
It had
get
a
there.
route, but
It did. But yeah, so we get to Kotor, and I think we had gotten out of the bus, and there was several people that were just like, "Oh, you need a place to stay? You need a place to stay?" And we're like, "No, we already have a place booked.
We're
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
See you later." But yeah, as we're walking to our accommodation, we're kind of passing the old town of Kotor, which was
Like another walled fortress
another
town.
walled fortress town. It was really, really cool.
It was awesome.
Actually. Yeah.
It was even bigger than Budva's.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit more open, I guess. Not
Yeah.
there was more so like little areas that had like a plaza
Yeah.
versus it all being really condensed.
Mm-hmm. And the mountain really is just like tucked up right behind it.
Yeah.
So
it just juts up right from the back and just goes up for days.
Yeah, and we actually saw what looked like a wall, but
It looked like a mini Great Wall of China.
It did, yeah.
That just zigzagged up the mountain.
Yeah, but we saw people walking it, so we're like, what the hell? And so we found out
you
that...
can get up there?
Yeah, you can walk this path. You have to go into the old town, pay a few euro or something, or whatever, and then you basically walk that path all the way up to this old school, like, kind of crumbling fortress. Yeah.
That's at the top of this mountain.
Yeah.
And overlooks the entire Bay of Kotor.
Yeah, which we were like, okay, yeah, that's on our checklist.
We're going to have to do that before we leave.
Yeah, for sure. But we end up getting kind of into the neighborhood, which was a ways away from the old town. And we are just kind of looking lost because we had no idea where our homestay was. Because it was just going to be a house, you know. So a guy had popped out and was just like, oh, do you need help? And he spoke English really well and was just like, oh yeah, let me tell you where to go. And so without his help, I don't know if we would have been able to find the place.
Because it was a good distance away from the central area of Kotor.
Yeah, it was.
For sure. It took a good while to get over there. At least a 30-minute walk.
Yeah, it was closer to 45.
If not 45,
think,
yeah, for sure.
But it was pretty decently priced, and it was really nice.
It was nice.
It was a nice house, and had AC and a fridge, and yeah, it was
cozy.
Yeah, and clean. So that was nice. The owner was really nice. I think they had some dogs that were kind of barky, but it was good.
So we basically checked in and began our stay in city number 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4? 5.
5.
Yeah, we're on 5.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we took one day and went and walked to the old town and just spent hours walking through it and going through the streets and checking everything out. And
again, it was like a maze.
Because there had been so much traffic, it was almost like big cobblestones that were on the ground, but they were so worn that they were smooth as could be, like smoother than river rocks. It was almost slippery.
Yeah, for sure.
Like marble.
Mm-hmm. But it was super quaint in the old town. Just all really cool. It's all made of stone. It's all stone made. And so there's stores, I think there's hotels in there, there's hostels. I probably would have wanted to have booked a hostel in the old town next time.
Honestly, there was one in there, but there was recent reviews that had mentioned, like, a couple reviews that had complained about bed bugs.
Oh, was that why we didn't pick it?
And it was in there, and then we even walked by it, and it was all wood, and it just looked skin crawly. And I was like, I'm glad we didn't book that.
Yeah, I guess
even though
true.
for the convenience factor of being in the old town of Budva.
Yeah.
Or of Kotor.
Yeah. It was cool, though. And so we just kind of wandered around and, stopped at little cafes or little stores. And I remember we ended up getting to one of the corners of the old town. And we had seen this weird, like, huge Raggedy Ann doll that was like sitting on the wall and just like kind of slunked over, but like watching people walk around below. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It was kind of creepy.
We did also pass by a really cool looking pub, and as we were just
Yeah.
exploring, we were like, oh, we'll have to go back to that place.
And I think I remember seeing a photo, not a photo, but like a painting or maybe a sketch of Tom Waits. It was like his face on one of their walls. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that looks awesome. We'll have to remember where this is and then we can come back.
So we kept exploring, and then we were like, well, let's go back to that pub, and we never found it.
We could not find it. We literally
We
walked
spent
around
hours and
for
retraced our steps
hours.
down certain streets like 5 times.
So
and
many
we
times.
could not find this fucking place again.
Yeah, that's how much of a
Never
maze
found
it
it.
is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we found out quickly that this Kotor is definitely a tourist destination.
At least like the Old Town area.
The Old Town specifically.
Because, yeah, the Bay of Kotor comes to this inlet, and there's a huge, huge docking area, and it's almost a stone throw away from the Old Town of Kotor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all these cruise ships would come in felt like every 2 to 3 hours one would dock and just let out this plethora of people that would just
it's like this
invade the Old Town and just shop and then
they were
leave.
huge cruise ships too,
Yeah.
like the big Carnival kind of cruise
Totally,
style
yep.
ships, and so they'd let off just so many
Just
people.
hordes.
Yeah, it was like a wave of tourists that would just come washing over this city of Kotor, and I think that the locals kind of had it down to an art or a science, like they knew when they were coming. I don't know if they like had little walkie-talkies to notify them, all right, the next one's coming out.
We
You
can
know.
see it coming down the bay because it's such a big
You
ship.
can, of course, but
Oh,
like
this will be here in like 20 minutes.
when they're actually going to let everybody out. So it was weird because when you were in the Old Town and that wave of tourists would come in, you're like, oh my God, this is kind of overwhelming. There's so many people. But then
It's
when...
like they're being invaded.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
it's a small little place.
Yeah, it's like they really were a fortress.
It's probably why the cobblestones were so worn through
Yeah, I'm sure.
and so smoothed out. And
And so I guess it would make sense that they're all fortressed up because that's, ships could easily come in there and then
yeah,
just attack
and
them.
yeah.
Which is pretty much what they do still to this day. But yeah, so they would come in, but when the ships wouldn't be there and when there, weren't that many tourists, it felt like a ghost town in there. It was like you really could explore for a while and not bump into people.
Right.
Which was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
most of the visitors were definitely from the docking cruise ships that came and went.
Yeah. But yeah, you found a really cool restaurant on Yelp, I remember.
Yeah, Yelp struck it again, and we had an outdoor table and just sat outside and had a really good meal.
I ordered the squid.
I don't even remember what I had, but I remember it was good.
Yeah.
I want
remember-
to say it was like a pizza or something. Or
Oh.
it could have been a pasta. I don't know.
I think it was a pasta, but I think you had plate envy.
Like a
'cause
seafood pasta.
Mine was literally just like these big squid
Yeah,
and potatoes. So, oh my God, it was so good. Made my mouth just water.
yeah.
Um,
But then, yeah, I think it was the last day we were there, we actually did do the hike up to the fortress.
yeah, it was the last day that we could do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we made our way to through the old town to the back side of it and up some stairs, up a ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little gate with the guy sitting at this makeshift table who you paid, what was it, just like a couple euro or something?
I don't think it was too much.
Yeah, it was pretty cheap. Yeah, you just paid the guy and you were able to go through and basically huff and puff your way up the mountain.
It was steep, man.
And it was fucking hot, too.
It was hot.
Because it's just exposed, there's no trees,
Yeah,
and it takes a long time to get up there.
it does.
It's steep.
Mm-hmm. And there are like these little parts that you can kind of, wander into, and little stone kind of almost house looking places, you
Yeah.
know, that you can kind of explore a bit.
That
So,
are just crumbling and,
yeah, so we kind of took our time getting up there.
yeah.
But once we did finally make it up there, my face was so fucking red. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
But man, the views,
Oh my God,
unmatched.
Yeah, you couldn't beat this view. It was gorgeous. And so, yeah, it was just basically this fortress that was, kind of stone and crumbling. And, just the skeletons pretty much left.
Yeah, but you had this view in front of you that was, you could see the old town like almost straight down below you.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Bay of Kotor you could see come in, and then
Yeah.
behind that was just this wall of mountain, and yeah, it was just an amazing view. And when the sun set, it set right behind this mountain, and yeah, just incredible.
Yeah, so we
had an
just
awesome sunset.
yeah, we spent the sunset up there and just totally enjoyed it.
Soaked up the scene.
Mm-hmm. And as we were walking down, the lights of the city kind of
Starts to come to life.
coming back on, and that view was awesome as well.
Yeah.
Because you got the kind of leftover, pink and orange of the sunset, or purples too, and then yeah, the lights of the city popping on.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was a really cool day. I think that for us was probably the highlight of
all of Montenegro.
All of Montenegro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our chill experience with Montenegro. After that, we headed to Tivat. I think we had 4 or 5 days booked there total.
I think we did have 5 days
which
booked.
is where we had flown into and where we were also flying out from. So we ended up staying at this one stay kind of on the outside of town for 3-ish nights.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 nights. And that stay was really nice. We walked up and the girl right away, she was a younger gal, and she had, greeted us and been like, oh, hello. And they made us food right when we got there, gave us tea. It was like kind of more authentic Montenegrin little dish, And,
yeah, it just tasted like made from scratch, really good, authentic food.
Yeah, for sure. And so we were hanging with them for a bit, and the young son, he told us that he would, drive us down to where we could go to the beach and have like a nice long, kind of walk to get there in the afternoon, but he just wanted to show us how to get there.
Yeah, he was born and raised in this area, and he was just excited to show us his hometown, basically, and what it had to offer.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, both of them spoke English really well, so they were really excited, I think, to practice on us. And,
yeah, really nice people.
Really nice, and very accommodating.
Yeah.
But, so we had gone out and explored a little bit of the city of Tivat, which basically was kind of like a little yacht town.
Yeah, there was, it was a big boating community, basically, and the shopping that was there was very upscale.
Oh my gosh.
Very expensive. It was very hoity-toity.
Very hoity-toity.
And, yeah, just pricey. I mean, everything, most of the shops and restaurants were along the beachfront, which it wasn't even a beachfront, it was just a huge docking area for people with, multi-million-dollar yachts.
They were huge
it was
yachts.
ridiculous. Some looked like pirate ships.
Yeah, some did look like legit pirate ships.
Like, people here had money, and
This was like Wolf of Wall Street yachting.
Yeah.
Like, that's how big these fuckers were. It was crazy. There was like some with jet skis, there were some with hot tubs, there were some... You started taking photos, and then one guy came out and was like, you can't be doing that. Yeah. We're like, oh, fuck, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it was very not our scene, but it was interesting.
Yeah. What is
with it to me?
I don't know. I think it's in your room. It's all the farting you did this morning. It's stuck in here.
But we did stop at one restaurant, and the prices looked decent enough.
Yeah.
So I think I got a pizza.
And I got a salad because I was sick of all the meat from Montenegro.
Meaty Montenegro.
Mm-hmm. And I wish I would have stuck with a pizza or stuck with meat because I got food poisoning from this event.
Yeah.
And I was bedridden again for like 4 or 5 days. I was completely sick to my stomach.
Montenegro fucked you up.
But yeah, so I couldn't even leave this stay because I was vomiting and coming out the other end, and it was, I was getting pretty dehydrated as well. So I was kind of legit worried there for a minute.
Yeah, but we did make it to the second stay, which was the last stay period of Montenegro.
Yeah.
And it was kind of off this main road, and it went straight back down this neighborhood road for quite a while. It was about a 20-minute walk from the main road, because I remember once you did hit the main road, it was maybe a 5-minute walk to this market, which was a decent-sized market, too. for, I want to say, the first time in Montenegro, because all the other little markets were in almost what felt like a small room.
It was just a little shop.
So
yeah.
this market was actually pretty big. So
it was more of like a supermarket style.
Yeah. So yeah, we did do a lot of shopping there, and it wasn't like, well, you can get this or get nothing. We actually had some options of things to pick from and choose from. But the other stay was really nice too. It had just an awesome layout of this nice field. There was like an orchard and grapes growing, and
it was like these.
We were in this lower level of this. It looked like what you would picture Italy looking like.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like little vineyards, a little, awning area that had a nice little table and chairs.
It had like those Spanish tiled roof, and it was just like an orange, almost like stucco house.
Yeah, it was a super nice place, and they were really friendly and greeted us, and they had like kids running around and stuff, and so it was basically this family's like larger house that they were just kind of renting out the bottom apartment.
Yeah, it's like a bottom apartment that was like a guest room or guest area.
Yeah.
And it had a bed and like its own bathroom, and really nice, really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it basically was getting over her sickness.
Yeah, I couldn't do much, man.
Which at that point, like from what we'd seen of Tivat itself, we were like, well, we can just relax here until we leave.
Yeah.
I've seen what I've wanted to see anyway, so
Yep.
We were just soaking up the last of our downtime.
Yeah, and I remember there was something pretty cute though. We had this little white kitten that was like laying on our bed when we got there. I was like, oh, we have a little friend that comes with a cat?
Yeah.
And I'm
always come in and just lay on our bed. And
yeah, I'm allergic to cats, which wasn't the funnest, but I was like,
adorable,
I don't care. It's so cute.
But at the same time, I was like, oh, she's laying on the bed, like that's gonna mess you up in the night.
I know, but I think I was all right. So that was pretty much Montenegro for us, and
after that, we were flying out of Tivat towards
Thailand.
Bangkok, Thailand. So we make our virgin voyage over to Southeast Asia.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's next and in store.
Yeah, we're planning on meeting your brother and his girlfriend there, so
yeah, I think
we needed to get there at a certain day.
Yeah, so I think we'll have had like a week before they arrive to explore, and that's all coming up next.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, you guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Tuning in. Thanks for stewing some soup. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Thanks for stewing up some Montenegro.
Some Montenegro. Oh my God.
We're having a hard time with this one.
And
my headphones are going to come off, and we've been coughing for days in this fart-filled room.
It's not farting.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you liked what you heard, subscribe to our podcast.
If you feel inclined, leave us a comment or review, tell someone you know who might enjoy to have a listen, and feel free to share on your choice of social media.
If you want to know more about us or see any photos of our travels, you can check out our website at trailofbeans.com.
We also have a Facebook page where you can follow us on our upcoming adventures and get updates along the way, which can be found by searching @ The Bean Trail.
We'll be back next week. Same beans,
same pod. Cast.